You're listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, where you get valuable information you just can't find anywhere else. To thrive in today's trying times, you need the Financial Survival Network, now more than ever. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and get your free newsletter and gift. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.
And welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz. It is Sunday, January 31st, right around 9 p.m. This is an emergency broadcast, for lack of a better word. We are seeing real dislocations, disruptions in the gold, to a lesser extent, the gold markets, mostly in the silver markets. And we are really blessed to have Andy Schectman, CEO of Miles Franklin, and you know them at milesfranklin.com, one of the largest bullion dealers in the country and the only one that's licensed and bonded. We want to find out exactly what's going on. And when you want to find out what's going on with the weather, you know, you could ask the weatherman or you could look outside. You know, the weatherman might actually know what he's talking about. But here we've got one of the largest dealers of bullion in the country. So I trust Andy. I've trusted him. I've known him for over 10 years now, bought tons of metal. So Andy, you gave me some distressing information earlier in the evening that basically everybody, all the dealers are shut down.
Yeah, so right now, a lot of them are up and running, but the prices they're charging are unlike anything I've ever seen. The big online companies, SD, JM's website's down right now. APMEX and SD are selling Silver Eagles at north of $40 a piece. We have them at $6 over spot. I have lots of them in stock. But let me tell you what happened earlier today. So as I've been telling you on our recent interviews, that I've been preparing for this now since December. My friend Chris Martinson alerted me to COVID in February, or actually in December, I should say, late December, and said, you know, more or less, I should be buying everything I can get my hands on. And so I literally have been doing that all year long, and I have not stopped. Even when my operations staff thought I was crazy, I was buying everything. We bought 80,000 Silver Britannias a week ago before this happened, thank God. And we're very, very well stocked. So all of that inventory carry that I have is hedged. So going into the weekend, I don't care what the spot price does. It's completely and totally hedged. But here's what the dealers do on the weekend. Typically, I'll get a call from my operations, my head trader, and I'll say, Andy, do you have any interviews that I need to know about over the weekend so I can get long appropriate amounts? So in other words, our inventory is hedged, but the market closes at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Eastern on Friday. Doesn't open again till 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock Eastern on Sunday this evening. And so normally what we do is we'll gauge what we think we need to do to get long. We were 55,000 ounces long into the weekend, and we sold over 90,000 ounces between Friday and Sunday morning. And we had to shut down trading the rest, like the rest of the other companies did, because we were, in effect, 35,000 ounces naked short to the open. And that's what all of the dealers were. They were naked short because the demand over the weekend, due to this Reddit deal, has blown up demand unlike anything I have ever seen ever in 30 years. I'm taking some time just to call you. I've been on the phone nonstop since the market opened at 6 o'clock without a break, literally taking order after order after order. And when I look at the online companies, their prices are so expensive or they're completely and totally out of product. I would argue I'm pretty much the only game in town right now for reasonable price silver. And I have no idea how long it's going to last that I have it. And getting it is going to be a challenge after I am sold out. Kerry, this is a seminal event unlike anything I've seen in 30 years.
Okay, so this is the big one. You remember Sanford and Son, Red Fox would always be holding his heart and saying, Elsie, I'm coming to join you. This is the big one now. This kind of feels like the big one, doesn't it?
It does. You know, it's like when you play sports, there's a moment in a game where you feel the tide turn, the momentum shifting. And even if you can't articulate it completely and totally, you feel it. And I will tell you, I've never felt anything like this. The level of concern and fear by the people I talk to is off the charts. And I'm not trying to be sensationalist. Go ahead, and for you listeners out there, check the online dealers. Now, we're offline. I'm a old school dealer. I believe precious metals should be conducted in a analog way, not a digital way, for everyone's sake, because of identity theft and privacy issues and fraud. So we're old school. I don't post prices, but I'll tell you that I'm anywhere from $3 to $5 cheaper per ounce than everyone in the United States right now. And I have product for immediate delivery where most do not. But I'll tell you, junk silver bags, I have 30 bags in stock. When they're gone, I have no idea where I'm going to get more. Silver Eagles, they're available, but they are impossible to get once I sell out, at least with any certainty. So, the whole spectrum right now is in flux. You have 7 million Reddit people who have alerted the world to silver. You're seeing silver being overrun in the Wall Street Journal and all of the mainstream media. It is taken center stage, just like GameStop did a couple of days ago. And I don't know where this leads tomorrow morning. I wouldn't be surprised if the Comex finds a way to drop the price tonight. All I can tell you is that the level of demand is unlike anything I have ever seen in 30 years of business, and it's not even close. But remember, we always talk about how the big traders position themselves in front of the crowd, in front of the little man. Remember what happened and what happened on Comex last year, the others reportable category on the Comex. These are the family offices and sovereign wealth funds. They took a delivery last year of over 320 million ounces of silver. That's roughly a decade worth of deliveries that they took possession of. And so you're talking massive, massive deliveries off the Comex by the very sophisticated, wealthy institutional investors, front running what just happened or what is happening right now. So I guess the bottom line is you see big, big money doing this, not just the investors, it's also on an institutional level. So, I was talking to Alistair McLeod earlier today, and he was telling me that 1,000-ounce bars in London are nearly impossible to get. And so whether you're talking the top of the food chain all the way down to the bottom, we are seeing massive strain on the supply and demand that is really, anyone who's been in this industry as long as I have will tell you, this is frightening. This is what it was like in March when, I was working till 2, 3, 4 in the morning every night, literally for weeks on end. It's like that now, but maybe even more intense. In March, people were afraid of COVID. Now, people are afraid of I think, the system breaking. And it's not about getting wealthy buying silver. It's about real value that is being, I think, finally, people are waking up to real value, something trading at half of its 1980 value. It's inflation-adjusted price right now. Should be north of $900 when factored against 1980 value. Could it go that high? Who knows? Maybe. I don't know.
Once you can't get it, the price can go to anything. One thing I just want to point out is that we've been talking about this for many, many, many years. And if you remember back, a good friend of mine, Chris Duane, had a thing with David Morgan. They tried to start it. Everybody buy an ounce of silver. Just everybody in the world. It didn't go anyplace, but somebody must have remembered. And I don't know that it's necessarily Reddit. I think this is the big guy's time to reset precious metals prices and then blame it all on the little traders when we all know what the real cause of it is here, Andy.
Well, you mentioned if everyone bought 1 ounce. How about this for you? On Friday, 30 million ounces were deposited into the SLV iShares Trust. 30 million ounces. We
think and hope.
We think. Yeah, right. Well, and what if that happens tomorrow and the next day and the next day? At some point, the whole system breaks because the people who have been shorting this, the market makers who have been shorting SLV, they're allowed to do that. They have to come up with the real product at some point, and it's becoming really difficult to get it. And I'd like to make a point. Today, when all of the dealers across the globe were shut down, not just in the United States, but in Europe, and they all shut down. They shut down because of the volatility opening up into an unknown market. That, to me, is symbolic of what would happen if Comex got overran or did a majeure and the pricing mechanism broke. What it basically means is that no one in the country would take an order because there's too much risk. So basically, it would be you send me a wire. When the wire is received, I'll lock it in, not until. And that's kind of what we would see happen if we see that type of a run on the Comex. And you know what? I would argue the very sophisticated traders, the big traders, have to smell blood in the water. And you see some hedge funds jump on and start to take massive positions on Comex and stand for delivery. Right now, the others reportable category is long over 10,000 contracts at 5,000 ounces a pop on Comex. That is about what they averaged every delivery month last year, taking off over 300 million ounces. So, you know, you're talking a situation where you've got the most sophisticated, well-funded, and well-informed traders on the globe taking massive positions in physical silver. They're going long in physical silver, and it is trickling all the way down to the little guy who's buying 1 or 2 or 3 ounces. And that's happening in mass, Kerry. And I'm not making this up. I mean, truthfully, I'm in Florida. I just, as you know, I just put an offer in that was accepted, thankfully, on a house here in Florida. I'm leaving Minnesota. I've been here for 10 days. Over the past 10 days, I have not seen the sun. I have been working literally all day, every day for 10 days, which is kind of the way that it's been since February of last year. But right now, more so than anything I've ever experienced. And I don't think it's changing. This type of demand will have an effect. It has to have an effect. And it's unlike anything this industry's ever experienced, because mostly we've been segregated to a small pool of hard money people, the same people we've talked to forever who get it. And now we're talking to their friends and their family and their financial advisors and their neighbors. And it's happening, Kerry. I don't know if this is the event, but I will tell you, I've never had an event that made me feel ever like this is the event.
So Andy,
it feels like it is.
What happens if tomorrow the price of silver goes up to $50? I'm not saying it will. I don't think it will, because they seem to be containing it on the access market. I mean, right now, as we're speaking, silver's up 85 cents on the I guess overseas market, wherever it is in Asia. It's up to 27.83, but it was up to close to $2. So they're doing their magic, their little reverse alchemy, turning precious metal into excrement. That's what they've been doing for decades already, but it looks like the game's running out. So if it went up $20 tomorrow, what the heck would happen? That would be a disaster for the system.
It would it would destroy the commercial banks who are naked short tremendous amount. I think at last count they were $14 billion in the hole from the market movement. This little movement in silver alone added a couple, probably $1 billion to that. So yeah, I would say to you, if silver went to 50, it could really break the system. It could be a Bear Stearns type of moment, and I say that with sincerity. You know, the commercial banks usually always win the war. They may lose the battle, but they typically win the war. This is the first time I think they're actually concerned about being overrun, about being beaten at their own game, where a whole group of investors globally wake up and realize that, you know, these people are shorting the market and creating an illusion of what the prices really are. And if you look at the company like JP Morgan, again, think of front running. JP Morgan has amassed 10 times what the Hunt brothers tried to buy in 1980, 1 billion ounces of silver. And of all of the commercial banks, they're the only ones who flip-flopped and went long. It's as if they double-crossed their cohorts, the other commercial banks who are, yep, it's called the double cross. 8 commercial banks right now. 8 banks hold, you know, a massively large short position, and they're hemorrhaging money as the price goes higher. They're freaking out. So does it have legs to sustain? Can they challenge the elite and the system? I don't know. But I'll simply tell you that it's certainly appearing more and more like the ability of the banks to continue to control the price through naked shorting is a very dangerous affair. And if I were the board of one of these companies, I'd say, get your crap in order and stop shorting the market. Game's over. And because they're going to have a lot of explaining to do if this keeps on running.
Yeah, a lot of splaining to do, Lucy. That's for sure. And when I just watch it, you can just feel the panic in the air. You can just sense it. I hadn't I hadn't thought about buying any emergency preparedness food for 10 years. I had 6 buckets of it. Somebody stole 2 of them out of my garage, and I've been thinking the past week, I really got to order some more of this food. And I'm not like panicking. It's just I want it if I need it. And this is no different. So I guess we're going to find out. I'm going to let you get back to work because I know you're super busy here. I never realized you worked on weekends, Andy. I had no idea.
Nonstop. Let me just mention one thing. First of all, I'm going to read you one thing from the end of third quarter of 2019, when the eight big shorts were underwater by 2.4 billion. The losses have progressively worsened over the 5 subsequent quarters to year-end 2020, when the combined losses hit 14 billion. Every $8 move higher in silver will cause that loss to increase by a further 3 billion. A move to $50 silver, commonly bandied about, would bring the 8 big shorts an additional 10 billion in losses from silver alone. And I think that they're at the point right now where they realize that any such attempt in short covering, would cause the most dramatic price move in history. And I think this is an explanation why these big shorts haven't rushed to cover. And I think they've been trying to dig their way out and smash it once in a while and knock the wind out of the public, but all it's really done is increase their resolve. So these are interesting times, Kerry. I so appreciate our friendship and the ability to come on and say hello and tell you what's going on. I'll always be there for your listeners. All they need to do is put Financial Survival Network in an email to Andy at Miles Franklin. I will make sure that they're getting the very best price and the best service. I will forward the email either to one of my trusted brokers who I have personally trained, or myself will reply to them, and we will do so in a very prompt fashion. And, thanks for hanging with me, Kerry, and appreciate it very much.
Always, man. Hey, we've known each other over 10 years now. Hey, I trust you guys. I used to say when you buy, they ship. Unlike some of your other competitors who kind of disappeared off the face of the planet. So, I can recommend you with the utmost confidence. I bought a bunch of metal. I stocked up 10 years ago. So, I'd buy a little bit here and there. I knew something was up, and I'll tell you why. Because eBay last year cut off bullion sales.
They did it today, too.
And they'd only let you sell bullion if it was certified by their chosen certifiers, right? I mean,
they cut it off completely today. There was no one allowed to sell bullion on eBay today. Nobody.
Yeah, why? And what is in it for eBay to be pushing those type of policies? They're like the Robin Hood of bullion sales here. When you buy shares from a broker and then they cut you off, they won't let you buy anymore, they won't let you sell a share. You know what this is exposed, and the Reddits have exposed, but you and I have known it for many, many years. All the markets are rigged. You show me a market, I'll show you a market that's rigged. And that's what it all comes down to. And what an epiphany for the millennials and the Robin Hooders, or the Robin Hoodlums, as the government would have you call them.
You know what? I will tell you that I have a new appreciation for that generation, the millennials, that they got a bad rap for a long time, and no one gave them the credit. They're highly intelligent, sophisticated people that are doing this right now. And something, I think that this is a seminal moment. I think that this is a moment where, whether it turns out to go to 50 right now, or gets knocked down and gathers more energy and then makes an assault on it at a later time, I think what it has done is shown that the markets are very fragile, and it doesn't take but a concerted amount of demand in this industry to very quickly change the narrative. So yeah, it's, as Chris Powell says, there are no free markets anymore, just manipulations. And I think people are waking up to that and putting the heat on these large commercial banks who have created a massive short position, allowing large institutions to all but corner the physical market in silver. So hang on to your hat, Kerry. I don't think we've seen anything yet. It's going to be an interesting week and an interesting ride.
Oh, yes, that's for sure. Anyway, thanks so much for coming on. Again,
You
Miles
got it,
Franklin,
brother.
Andy at milesfranklin.com. Send us your emails, kl@kerrylutz.com. Make sure you sign up for our newsletter. Coming weeks ahead, you're not going to want to miss anything. I promise you that. Andy, thanks again. Always a pleasure.
You got it. You got it, brother. God bless. Hope to talk to you soon, Kerry. Stay well, and I'm glad we're going to be neighbors. Look forward to spending lots of time with you in the future.
Same here.
Thanks for listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, your solution to today's trying times. For the latest, go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.